Welcome to the Busy Guy Show. My name is Vince LoCascio. Before we start tonight's show, I just wanted to pay respect to a great man, a great Cub, and a great Chicagoan, Ernie Banks. And before we do, I just wanted to show a little memorabilia that I was very fortunate to get from Ernie, a chance that I got to meet him and took a nice picture there with him. Below, the next one down, he was nice enough to sign a picture for me. That he carried around with him. What a great, great man, fun man. And it just so happened on that day that the front page of the Sun-Times was a color picture of Wrigley Field about changes going on, and he was nice enough to sign that. So a great, great, great man. Just wanted to take my opportunity as a Chicagoan and to say thanks, Ernie, for all the memories. And this is going to be our year, as he always said. This was also this was the front page of the Sun-Times this weekend, paying honor and respect to the great, friendly Ernie Banks. Let's play two. Thanks, Ernie.
We take great pride in our work. I think that is one of the best parts about being Italian is the passion that runs through our veins. You know, it's undeniable.
The Italian-American heritage. Live it, love it, celebrate it.
Welcome to the Busy Guy Show. My name is Vince LoCascio, and I'm a busy guy. Today I've got a busy lady, Joanna Vassilatos. She's a regional manager of School of Rock for Elmhurst, Hinsdale, and Naperville. School of Rock has locations in the United States, Canada, Mexico, and the Philippines. With over 17,000 students, they are the largest after-school music program in the United States. Joanna, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me. I'm happy to be here.
Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get involved with School of Rock?
Well, my first introduction to School of Rock was quite a few years ago. I actually used to live and work in Los Angeles in the music industry, and I worked for the Grammy Awards, the awards show, and I actually worked for the nonprofit side of it, which is called the Grammy Foundation. And the Grammy Foundation provided, would set up, opportunities for kids who were interested in music to interact with professional musicians. And so I would set up these events. They were like sort of mini mentor sessions. And I would end up making these phone calls to different schools saying, I have this event, and we've done this with everyone from Katy Perry to Kanye West to Taylor Swift to, the list goes on and on, the Goo Goo Dolls, number of Grammy caliber artists. And I would invite them to, watch the artist sound check and then sit for a Q&A with them. And
these were obviously kids that were never going to have an opportunity.
Most kids don't, right? Yeah. So I would make these calls, and it was a free program, but I kept finding that people would not believe me when I would be calling, and so it was very hard for me to actually source students to do this kind of a thing, until I found this sort of like gold mine, which was School of Rock, because I realized it had, numerous locations across the country, and these events, I would do, there was about 100 of them, and they would happen all across the country. And so that's how I initially...
So it was like a database for you.
Yeah, for me it was amazing. I could just like make one phone call and, my job was done in terms of that. So that was great. And then I moved back to Chicago, and, I grew up in Chicago, so I sort of know, the lay of the land in terms of the opportunities and the employment opportunities here, advertising, finance, or whatever it was. And I was, not really feeling that. I remember saying to a friend of mine, it'd be kind of cool to maybe work for School of Rock. I can teach some kids some guitar lessons, maybe answer a phone or two.
And I should interject and say you are a musician yourself.
I am, yes. I've been playing drums for over 20 years, and I've been playing, singing and playing guitar and kind of everything. Anything I can get my hands on is pretty
all the
much.
bases.
Yeah, pretty much.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
So it was founded by Paul Green many years ago, and the concept is not just taking lessons. The concept is taking lessons and playing with a group.
Yeah. So we are not only the biggest provider of after school, but we're the best. So, the reason I say that is because we're very non-traditional in our approach. School of Rock is really all about getting kids on stage and playing shows pretty much as soon as we can, and it's through this combination of taking private lessons and group lessons. We do this like each week a kid will take a private, one-on-one lesson with an instructor, and they'll also participate in one of our instructor-led jam sessions. And at the end of each, what we call seasons, we run in 3 to 4 month seasons, they will play a show at a real deal rock venue.
Like a semester.
It's sort of like that,
So
yeah,
to speak. It's a
exactly.
structured
Yeah,
time.
yeah, and our kids have played shows everywhere from, Lincoln Hall and the Double Door in downtown Chicago to Two Brothers Roundhouse in Aurora, and literally everywhere in between. I mean, and our normal turnout is about 400 people, that they're playing for. And we're talking like 8-year-olds. You know what I mean? So
the curriculum, it's obviously it's called the School of Rocks, which covers everything from the Beatles, the Who, Zeppelin, all the way to grunge. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of different genres that they cover?
Yeah, there's a lot. We're really about making sure that kids know the classics in terms of rock music. Whenever I bring a kid into the school, which is, the schools have their own personality themselves, the actual buildings, the different schools are set up differently and have a different sort of community vibe to them. But we name all of our rooms. There's the Janis Joplin room or the, Joey Ramone room, etc. I always sort of play
That's
this.
pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really fun. We play this like kind of tongue-in-cheek game, like, hey, this is the Paul McCartney room. Have you ever heard of who Paul McCartney is? And
not until what's his name, Kanye West.
Well, no, yeah, definitely. I mean, he's kind of new. I hear Kanye's going to blow him up, but they would, so I'll say something to that effect, and sometimes the kids will be like, no, I've never heard of him, and the mom will sort of like hang their head in shame, and but after they've been with us for a while, I guarantee you they know exactly who they are and stuff.
Okay, so now about the teachers, and the everything is covered from guitar, bass, drums, keyboards, and vocals as well.
Correct. Yeah.
How do you hire your teachers, and
Yeah. So all of our teachers are professional musicians and have they go through extensive training. We go through extensive training, background checks, etc. We find them mostly through the music schools in the area. A lot of the majority of our teachers have not only a background in playing professionally, but also in their degree in that. And even those that don't, they've got plenty of street cred. The majority of our teachers have either toured all over the world, played hundreds of shows, recorded and released albums, have their own bands. I would say every single teacher that we have plays actively in a band in the city right now, if not being on tour,
And I did read that some of them are graduates of School of Rock.
Yes, yeah,
very cool.
yeah. It does kind of come full circle, which is always exciting.
So then, I just wanted to, how do you? Because we talked about it earlier, before the show about how do they test, like if a kid can play multiple instruments?
So the kids that, first of all, we kind of love it when kids come in and have never touched an instrument. It's really about starting with that like blank canvas, right? So they'll come in, and usually 9 times out of 10, the kid will come in and know what they want to play, or the parent knows what they want the kid to play. So let's say, little Johnny comes in and they're like, oh, I want to play the guitar. Cool. So we put them into our beginner program, which is called Rock 101. And they'll do, like I said, the private lesson. And then they'll also do the jam session. And for the beginners, we kind of sort of take the performance element off the table to just sort of, ease the stress level, because they are still learning something new.
They want to get comfortable.
Yeah. And so throughout that season, they'll only learn like 1 or 2 songs, right? But if he comes in on the guitar, let's say, then we encourage that they tried all the different instruments. I mean, listen, I started off playing the guitar. I actually started off playing the violin, and then I moved to the guitar and now the drums. I still don't even know what I really want to play. I'm constantly changing.
When you grow up.
Yeah, when I grow up, hopefully I'll figure it out. So we give kids that opportunity as well, to do that. So.
Well, that kind of answers my next question. Was going to be I don't know if you want to call it an interview, but I show up with my kid. I say, okay, we're here. What do you offer? Should we sign up right away? Should we? I don't know if I'm asking the right question here, but the typical interview that goes on with a parent.
Yeah, so typically a parent will call and say one of two things, but the conversation always boils down to this. I've got a kid, he's interested in music, and he hasn't necessarily found his thing yet. That's usually what the conversation is about. You know, a lot of the students that come to School of Rock, you know, they may not be the best athletes at school. Like maybe they have an older brother who's like, you know, the captain of the basketball, football, whatever team, you know, but they haven't really found their place and what they really excel at. So but let's say they love music and the parent knows that. And so we'll say, well, is there an instrument that they're interested in pursuing? And if the answer is yes, and depending on their age, of course, then we'll just get them started with that instrument. And like I said, in our beginner program, you have the ability to experiment, and we encourage that. You know, we set it up so that the teachers in the group sessions allow for that to happen.
And so we go by age groups. So if we could maybe walk through each, if you want to call them programs. But
Yeah.
the first one is Little Wings,
Yes, Little Wing
which
is...
was a Jimi Hendrix song.
Yes, it is. Little Wing is for 2 to 5 year olds. I'm sorry, 3 to 5 year olds, and it is it's essentially like the coolest preschool music class that you could ever imagine. So kids don't you don't have to listen to your 3-year-old singing "Mary Had a Little Lamb" for the next like 4 months. Instead, they'll probably come up to you and say something like, "Hey, you, get off of my cloud," you know, and because they're learning the Stones, the Beatles, you know, the Who, the Police, like, you know, all these awesome classic rock songs. And the class itself was created, basically, kids at that age don't have the fine motor skills to learn an instrument, right? Put a 3 or 4-year-old in piano lessons, it's a really hard experience for them. And although some of them can make it happen, the majority of them, it ends up becoming very frustrating, and then it turns them off from playing music, and that's the worst. You know, that's kind of what we don't ever want to happen. So, but they know the concepts, so they can move the concepts, they can learn the concepts, and they end up, you know, kind of learning those on a regular basis because they come to these group classes.
So then we go from there. The next one is Rookies.
Yeah, Rookies is awesome. It's for 6 and 7-year-olds. This is a group class that kids can come in and you don't have to take a private lesson, you don't have to even own an instrument, you don't have to practice at home, you just come to this class and they get to play on all the different instruments, guitar, bass, drums, vocals, keys. So their first sort of experiment in playing together as a group. The instruments are smaller size, so you'll see, you know, whereas, you know, a full-size guitar might be, you know, this high, like the Rookies guitars are smaller. So
this is full size here.
This is a full-size guitar, yes, yeah. Okay. So a Rookies guitar would probably be about that big.
Well, that leads me to my next question then is, up until which groups do you provide the instruments? In other words...
Yeah, so those two that I just mentioned are the only two that we would provide the instruments. And then once you move out of those two groups, or let's say you're just at an older age, so starting at age 8 is where we put you into the Rock 101 program. And that's when you're going to choose what instrument you actually want to focus on, right? So because you're taking a private lesson and you're taking the group lesson on that instrument. So, and you know, just so it's clear, like in the group sessions, in your private lessons, you're learning how to play the songs that you're eventually executing as a band in the group sessions, right? And so what's great about it is that in the private lessons, not only are you learning the songs, so you as a kid, you're like, oh, this is so exciting, I know how to play Smoke on the Water, right? But what you don't also realize you're learning is the musical concepts behind it as well. So it's those two pieces.
And as we talked about earlier, musical instruments, I believe, have come a long way as far as being affordable.
Oh my God, absolutely, yeah. So if you need to, a lot of the times, like the beginners, they come in and they do need an instrument, and so we help out our parents. We send. There's so many affordable options right now. I mean, for any instrument, whether it's guitar, bass, you know, even drum sets, keyboards. You know, there's a lot of options out there that are. I mean, for under, you know, a couple $100, you can kind of get everything that you need.
Yeah, they sell kits, you know, I mean, you go to A, B, and C music stores, and they got the whole kit. You buy the amp, the guitar, the cord,
it's all in one.
Mm-hmm. Something we talked about, and just to go back, you know, to this whole thing of not just learning lessons, but learning to play with a group is phenomenal, because you talked about the discipline that the kids are going to be more determined to practice
Oh yeah.
if they know they got to play with a group than as if they're just learning by themselves. They're showing up to.
Oh yeah, I
the
mean,
music
you know,
lesson.
first of all, I mean, accountability is what gets everybody out of bed, right? And so these kids, like, there's nothing more motivating than knowing that they're going to get up on stage and play in front of 400 people, and that they better know their parts. So yeah, it's very, very, very motivating.
Well, and then just while we're on that, then at the end, if we want to call it the season, but what this group that they've played with, I guess you would call it a recital.
We would not call it a
I don't want to
recital.
use that corny word, but what do
Here's
you, what
the
do you
difference,
call
okay?
it? What do you call
Let
it?
me tell you the difference between a recital
All
and
right,
a
I'm
show.
good.
A recital, you're sitting down and watching, you know, the
Okay.
the performance. A rock show, you know, everyone's standing up, they're having a good time, there's a lot of hooting and hollering,
Okay.
and it's the real deal, right?
But you know what I mean. They're going to do these songs that they learned
Yeah, so
with
they're,
their group.
yeah, well, you know, they're different casts, right? So our performance program, which is the only one we didn't get to, was that's when kids start playing shows. There are different themes that you can choose from. Last season we did a Red Hot Chili Peppers show. We've done, you know, a Nirvana show, Green Day show. We're doing Fleetwood Mac right now. All these different options, and there's about 20 kids in each group, right? So they're cast on different songs. So you
There's
might
that many in a group.
yeah, so you might be on, you know, one song with, you know, this group of kids. Well, the next song that you're cast on, you might be with a completely different group of kids, but they're all on the same show. If
Now,
that makes
how are the
sense.
songs picked? Is the instructor like
We pick them.
you do?
Yeah, we've got this saying that the kids will be allowed to pick, you know, the show. Or actually, the saying was kind of taken from Harvard. We'll let kids pick the shows when Harvard lets their students pick the books.
Okay.
Yeah, so we do that.
All right. Now another program is called Rehearsals Only.
Yeah, that's the option for kids that have private instructors already, and we really respect that connection that you have with your teacher, and they can just come and do the group lessons with us. They don't have to do the private lessons.
Okay. And what quotes I kept seeing over and over again on your on the website is parents coming in and saying, "God, I wish I had this when I was a kid."
Yeah, and so we responded to that. Actually, we started this program called Old School, and that's for our adults. And it's great. It's really about it's for two types of people. It's for that guy who you know, calls up and is like, yeah, I want my kid to do this, but yeah, I used to play in high school. And then they like kind of come in, they show you a picture, and they've got like hair down to here from, you know, 20 years ago or whatever, and they haven't picked up their instrument in a while. And so we get them back into it. You know, they're taking private lessons each week, just like the kids do. They do these group jam sessions as well, and they're playing shows. Our adults have also played, like, I mean, really great venues. They just did a show at Q Bar a couple weeks ago, which was a huge success, and it's a great program. And then we've got people that have never touched their instruments before. I had a 70-year-old guy come in and want to take drums, you know, just
for him.
have never played before. Yeah, you know, so. I mean, and we get you started. You know, if you're a total beginner, we would have you take lessons first. It's called, like, we boot camp you is what we call it. But the group, eventually we do put you in the group because it's really all about getting on stage.
This question I have to ask. I kind of ask it comedically, but earlier you told me it's a very serious question. But a guy wants to live vicariously through his kid.
Yeah.
The kid, you know, it used to be, okay, I'm going to take my kid. He's going to learn classical piano, like you mentioned earlier. Now I'm taking my kid. My kid wants nothing to do with rock, but I'm bringing him and saying, just, you know, you're going to learn the Beatles.
Yeah,
Does
yeah.
that happen?
Yeah, it does happen. It happens. You know, I think what is important about our program is not just so much about, it's not all about the music, right? There are so many different elements that come into making it successful and positive for the child, right? So, like I said before, a kid might have not found their place yet. Well, they come to School of Rock and maybe they feel like they belong. And so even if they don't really like, you know, rock music, or, you know, a lot of our kids come in and they want to sing pop music. Well, we don't do a lot of pop, but what they come in and they find are like-minded kids, you know, a sense of community, and, you know, a lot of these kids, like, they're very, very shy when they first walk in the door, and 6 weeks later, 8 weeks later, you know, they're getting ready to play on stage. I mean, it completely transforms them. It is such a positive and uplifting, like, sort of, you know, positive for your spirit, not just, you know, and it's not really just about the music. It's really about changing these kids. They build confidence, they build, self-esteem. I mean, they learn all these really valuable social skills, they make good friends, and it's an extremely positive environment. And so what if they don't like, the Led Zeppelin song that they're on? You know what? Most of these kids don't even know that they don't like rock music. I mean, they don't know what they like and they don't like. There's a lot of things out there that they've never heard of before. Maybe it's like, maybe dad really liked Rush, or didn't like the Stones. Well, then maybe the kid will realize he does like the Rolling Stones.
I didn't hear the Stones mentioned at all.
You didn't?
No.
Well,
you did. Actually, you did say earlier, get off my cloud, but
okay.
I know I'm a huge Beatles fan.
I'm a huge Stones fan, so.
I'm both, whatever. But the reason I brought that up basically is that you have camps that are specific for drums, guitar, but you have one specific for Beatles.
Yeah, we do summer camps that are a week long. They're really easy for people to kind of try out the program. But we have a couple different performance camps that are theme-based. So we are doing a Beatles camp. We've done Green Day camps in the past. We've done just like general classic rock camps. But yeah, this year we're doing a Beatles one. Do you want to join? Do you want to come and join?
I wanted to give the class. Actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Tell me about the School of Rock All-Stars.
Yeah, All-Stars is this amazing program that we offer. It is basically the best of the schools of our kids from across the country, from across the entire system. They audition to be a part of this our All-Stars band, and those kids that make it, I mean, there's I don't know, maybe like 100 or 200 slots available total, and those kids get to over the summer go out and sort of play huge shows. Like for instance, we had a student from Naperville make the All-Star band a couple years ago. And they get to play like Lollapalooza. They do Gathering of the Vibes festivals. They do like just huge events. They basically kind of are out on the road in a tour bus and staying in hotels and like kind of doing the whole rock star experience. Well, most of it, not all of it, right?
The good part of it.
Exactly.
Now I read about corporate outings.
Yeah, corporate outings is something new that we're starting out. So we basically invite like corporate. It's like a team building event, right? So you can bring in a group of people that have never, even if they have played an instrument before or haven't, learning a new instrument, it like kind of takes, we've found that it uses a different part of the brain, right? So like, let's say if you're working in a work environment, you've been working with the same people the whole time, you feel sort of stuck in a rut, or it's a new people that you've never met before, you kind of do this experience and it brings you all together. It's instead of doing, trust falls and, zip lining, this is another way to...
now, when they do it, is it a one-day event or is it a lesson?
Yeah, so it'll be, actually we've done both. So it'll be like a one-day, all-day sort of event where they have different, let's say, teams or whatever that are learning how to play the different instruments. Or the other option, actually we did once, which was outstanding. We had the executive team of a company come and take lessons with us for about 3 months, and then they ended up playing at their Christmas party.
How cool is that?
Yeah, and unveiled. So that was really fun, really exciting.
But that's what everybody wants to be, a rock star.
It's fun.
At some point, that's why they always talk about when the Beatles came out, everybody was in a band.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody did it.
Yeah.
And then there's events that they'll play at as well?
Yeah. So we've got this thing called our house band, and house band is kind of like our marketing band. It's made up of the best kids from each school, and they go out and play events in the community because we always get calls from people that are like, hey, can you send a bunch of kids down and play like this event or this festival or be in this parade or whatever it is. And so we have a band that does that, and our kids have played. In Naperville we had kids open for Slash at Ribfest a couple years ago. Yeah, we've had in Hinsdale we've had in all of our schools we've had them just open for a lot of bigger bands. They've done a lot of festival shows in the and each town does like a spring concert series, let's say, and our kids will play. And it's a great experience for the kids, and because they get to play more shows as opposed to just doing the performance program. And for us, it's great because people get to hear, what our kids are up to and what they sound like and how they've been doing.
I think that just one of the concepts, just to hear the word band, because you don't hear that too much anymore with pop music. It's like there's so much stuff that's done on computers and all that kind of thing. But and I even saw them mention the word battle of the bands used to be a huge
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
that
yeah. And those are
happens.
they're kind of starting to come back. It seems like I've seen a lot of them pop up lately. So that would be kind of exciting to
Yeah,
check out.
yeah, I'm in a band. Wow, how that cool is
Yeah.
that? Let me ask you, and let me ask you respectfully, but is there a ratio that it's more boys than girls, or it's kind of mixed?
You
or
know,
equal?
actually, we've our school has been pretty much down the middle. You know, I think what really the ratios sort of tip in one favor or the other is by instrument. So there's more girls that are vocalists. You know, that doesn't mean that there aren't guys that are too. There are. There's just more girls that are vocalists. There are more boys that are drummers, which, you know, I always try and change. So you know, those are the two, you know, sort of instruments that provide that biggest
And the vocalists,
difference.
just to touch back on that a bit, they're giving them basic singing lessons, and then they go into you know, learning the song for the group.
Yeah, I mean, as a vocalist, it's really important to know how to do it properly so that you don't end up not only just hurting your voice, but, you know, creating vocal nodes or being able to sustain it, and honestly, to sound good. I mean, it's very important, you know, as performance. I mean, anytime you go and see a band, you know, the guitar player can get away with maybe a mess up here and but like the singer is sort of, you know, the biggest thing there. You know what I mean? Like that's what you're going to see the most of. So it's very important for them to do it properly, proper warm-ups, you know, proper, like I said, just kind of taking care of their voice. So all that is very important. So yeah, we do offer just, you know, like you can just be a vocalist. You know, that's definitely
Yeah, that one I
allowed.
found kind of fascinating because, you know, people learn instruments, all that, but a lot of people learn to sing just because somebody has to sing in the band, you know?
Yeah, you know, and what I find is that singing lessons are you know, there's two ways that I've seen in my life that like help people like move or become more, gain a lot more self-confidence. The first is like through acting lessons, and the second is through
I apologize.
singing lessons. Yeah.
I'm going to take this, right?
Okay, of course.
Hello. Yeah. Paul McCartney.
Oh, right.
Yeah, Paul, I'm doing a show right now. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry I can't talk to you right now. Okay, bye. Bye. He's always bothering me.
Yeah, he does that sometimes.
Does he?
Yeah, he does.
He didn't go to School of Rock.
Well, no, but I told him to call you.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's how it happened.
Oh, well.
So all the information they can find out before we move on, we'll get just a minute. Tell me quickly, what is Instrument Petting Zoo?
Oh yeah, that's so fun. It's this like mobile play area that we bring to different like events, like festivals, carnivals, that kind of stuff. And essentially, it's like a place for kids to we just set up a bunch of different instruments, and they can just go in and play them. So,
Well, cool.
Yeah.
And for all the information, go to Elmhurst.
Well, there's different schools. So like Elmhurst.schoolofrock.com, Naperville.schoolofrock.com, Hinsdale.schoolofrock.com.
I can't thank you enough.
Thank
Some
you.
cannoli for you.
Yeah.
Thanks
all
for
right.
being on the show. You truly are a busy girl.
Thank you.
School of Rock. So check it out on the website. Sorry, I gotta go.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll call them later.